but um, I will try my best. That is first. The second one is this talk is prepared with a view in mind. The graduate students in this mostly Indian graduate students. So, as I see many experts and super experts in the audience, they might get bored. In advance, I apologize. So, let me start. In this lecture, I want to prove some of the Nori. I want to give a proof of this famous theorem of Kaushik and Nori in these two lectures with all details. Um, so let me start by recalling problem little vaguely. How many equations are necessary to define a given algebraic set in an affine n space or even projective n space over a set? This is the broad question, and as you can see, the people period. First, I will recall some early history of this, and then we will go on to the proof of the theorem. So it started with Kronecker, who stated that every algebraic set in AN is defined by n plus equations. He stated it only, but he didn't give the detailed proof. The proof was provided later by Koenig, Perron, van der Waalen, and so on. In between, Whelan gave an example of a curve in A3 which is not an intersection of three surfaces. This created a little bit confusion till Perron showed that Whelan's example was not correct. In fact, Whelan's example is intersection of three surfaces. Then this was n plus 1 equations in n space. Now the question is whether n is enough. So in 1960, Nazer showed that every algebraic set in A3 is the intersection of three surfaces. And then later, Storch and Eisenberg-Evans, they proved it independently for every algebraic set in affine n space is defined by n equations. Now, to be a little bit complete, I want to introduce this standard notation. So, for a field, this k x1 to xn denotes polynomial algebra over k in n variables, and a and k, these are n tuples of elements from k. This is affine n space over k. That is considered with the Zariski topology, where closed sets are defined by the ideals, all those zeros, common zeros of the polynomials, of all polynomials in that ideal. And then ideal of V is all polynomials which vanish on this set V. This is a reduced ideal and called a radical, the ideal of V. KV, which is polynomial mod IV, is called a coordinate ring of V. Dimension is dimension of this affine algebra, which is a transcendent degree if V is irreducible. So irreducible closed sets correspond to the prime ideals. Now, Proulx principal ideal theorem says that if V is defined by R equations, then R has to be at least n minus d, where d is the dimension of V. So n minus d the codimension of V in affine n space. So this means that every reducible component Y of V will have codimension less equal to R. In particular, if V is non-empty algebraic set defined by R equations, then height of this ideal generated by F1 to Fr is less equal to R. This is a very standard course material usually taught in the first course on commutative algebra. Now define some couple of definitions. V is said to be set theoretic complete intersection in N if V is n minus d hypersurfaces. We saw by Proulx principle, Proulx theorem, n minus d is the minimal one, least. So a better definition would be when I is a radical of f1 to fn minus D. This is because as one see in a course, when K is not algebraically closed, then Hilbert-Null-Schellndatz is not correct, and therefore this the last line was a better definition, so which we will take it in general for arbitrary K. So second definition is V is a complete intersection or ideal theoretic complete intersection if IV is generated by n minus D polynomial. So being a complete intersection is more stronger than set theoretic complete intersection. And there are many examples of set theoretic complete intersections which are not complete intersections, as we can see also later. Okay, now the main question I am dealing in these lectures is I only consider affine space, algebraic sets in affine sets over a field. So a closed set is algebraic set. Suppose that all irreducible components of VA have the positive dimension, then the question is whether VA is defined, VA can be defined set theoretically by n minus 1 equations. So for example, for curves, the question is if you have an algebraic curve, whether it is defined by n minus 1 equations. Now, the celebrated result of Kaushik and Nori, which we will prove, provides a positive answer for algebraic curves in AN if characteristic of the field is positive. If characteristic is 0, then the question is still open even for algebraic curves. This is a general question for arbitrary dimension. So even for K equal to C and N equal to 3, this is the answer to this question is not known. And there are many results and questions related to this question. And I will be not so exhaustive. I will just concentrate to prove the Cauchy-Nori theorem. All right, so let us go to Cauchy-Nori theorem. Let's say if you have a characteristic E field, then every algebraic curve is a set theoretic complete intersection of all its, if all irreducible components have positive dimension. That means we don't allow a curve with isolated points. Okay, the proof I am going to give is due to Moe, which I learned in late 80s from his preprint, which is, I don't see where is it published. So I don't know, somebody if they know it, I would be very happy to know this. Anyway, so let us introduce a notation. The ideal A is the ideal of C. And we know then R mod A, R is a polynomial ring, R mod A is reduced, and because it is algebraic curve, then dimension of R mod A is 1. And this ideal A is, because it is reduced, it is intersection of prime ideals of codimension 1. So that is, and we want to find n minus 1 equations in A, so that this ideal A is a radical of ideal generated by that n minus equation. So for this first, I am going to replace the field K by K 1 over P infinity. That means attaching all the P power Rth roots of element from K to the field and enlarge the field. And we may assume that K is perfected. This I will need it because I would like to use Jacobian criterion after some time. So, this, how do we reduce? That is, the lines are written here. If the field extension, if you go to the extent is ideal to this polynomial ring over K1 over P infinity, and assume the result is true there, then raise this equation to high power of P, then you will land in the polynomial ring in over K, and then it is easy to check. This is because the characteristic is P. positive. So, and then one can easily check that the ideal A is the radical of the high powers of this equation. So therefore, we have achieved that A is perfect. All right. Now, go on. Now, one of the main ingredients in this proof is this so-called projection lemma, which I have learned in one of the summer school we have arranged in Bangalore long many years back with Kaushik. And this proof I learned from my advisor, Professor Balwant Singh. So this I will present in the next lecture. But the statement is the following. If you have an ideal A, which is your codimensional reduced ideal in a polynomial ring over a field, perfect field of characteristic P, then after a change of variables, the ring extension, you can assume the ring extension R mod I, which contains AX1, X2, modulo the contracted ideal. This extension is finite and birational. So finite just means B is a finite modulo over this AX1, X2 mod A intersection AX1, X2. And now let me just recall birational. What is a birational extension means? You have a ring extension of a reduced Noetherian equidimensional ring. Suppose that B is integral over A and S is a non-zero divisor of A, then the S inverse A, which is a total quotient ring of A, then B, S inverse B is also total quotient ring of B, and when, if B is birational over K, that means total quotient ring of A and total quotient ring of B is isomorphic. This is equivalent to saying the map from associated primes of B to associated primes of A, the contraction map. This is the bijection, and for each residue quotient field are equal for every associated prime of B. So here I just want to recall, we will say that B is separable over A if the quotient field of B mod Q is a separable field extension of quotient field of A contraction of Q to A. This is for every associated prime of B. That is the birection. So roughly it means that if the finger integral domain, then it means that the quotient field level, the map is an isomorphic. Okay, now in the simple lemma also we will need in the proof that if you have a finite birational extension of Noetherian reduced rings and C is the conductor of B over A, then the conductor contains a non-zero divisor in it. This is because B is a finite module over A. So write B as the generating set over A as a module. These are written B1 by S1, Bm by Sm, where B1 to Bm you can assume in A and S1 to Sm are in S. That is because the total quotient rings are isomorphic. So we can assume that Bi's are in A and Si's are in S. But now it's obvious that this S, if I take the common denominator, that will be in the conductor because it will annihilate B as B mod A. In particular, if dimension is 1, then B mod the conductor is an Artinian algebra. Okay, so now let us resume the proof of Kaushik and Nori theorem. So by projection lemma, we will assume that R mod A, where remember A is a defining the ideal of the curve C, and the A is polynomial in two variables mod A intersection x1 x2. This is a finite and therefore integral and birational, that is by the projection lemma. And just the small lemma, the conductor contains a non-zero divisor in A, therefore R by C, this is an Artinian K algebra. In particular, it is finite dimensional. That means finite dimensional vector space over K. Now, let us denote XR to be the residue class of capital Xi in R bar by C. R bar is the R mod A, and these VIR, they are the A vector spaces generated by Xi power P power M, where M is at least R. And they are all subspaces of these big Artinian algebra R by C. So therefore, they are finite dimensional. And because by definition of this VIR, that is decreasing sequence, when you increase M, increase R, it gets smaller and smaller. Therefore, we have this chain of vector spaces, and R is finite dimensional. Therefore, at some stage, they will become equal. And I will assume these are for all taking the maximum. I can find. Yes.
There is a question.
Yes.
Isn't the extension of kx, xy contained in kxy birational? For a birational extension, do you really need the extension to be integral? That's the question from Buddhadev Hajra.
You can actually assume it is finite. The projection lemma says you can assume it is finite. You see the projection lemma statement, there it says, the projection lemma says you can find a change of variables. That means an automorphism of the polynomial algebra. So when you apply that, this extension becomes finite and birational. So we have both. We have both.
Okay.
So in particular, we have integral. All right. Now, where we were at the chain of vector spaces is decreasing. So, and these i's are only finitely many indices. So I can choose bigger R so that all equality happens for all R. All from R onwards, equality, and this equality happens for all I from 1 to n. So in particular, that means this equality means P xi power P power R, which is one of the generators here. It will belong to this next vector space. That is what I have written here. So that means this xi power P power R is a linear combination of the next powers, which is equal to that. So such a equation happens in R bar by conductor, and these coefficients lambdas, they are some elements in the field, and I is varying from 1 to n, and j is varying somewhere that may depend on I. So they are called, I'm denoting them by Ti. So now what does this mean? This is 0 in R bar by C. So therefore, if I lift this small xi to the P measures capital Xi, then we have this equation Fi, which this, and minus Ci, where Ci is some element in the conductor, and this should become 0, because this should become 0 in R bar. That means it should belong to the ideal A. So we have these Fi's, they are polynomials, and now we put yi equal to xi power P power R, and R prime is a polynomial ring now, is x1, x2, and y3, yn, which is a subring of subalgebra of k x1 to xn, which is contained in R. Now we have this ideal A of the curve, we contract it to this A prime, and obvious that A prime extended to R will be contained in A, and for every G in the ideal, if I raise G to the high power of P power R, then it belongs to A prime, because it is very important, because the characteristic is P here. Therefore, this means that the radical of this extended ideal is precisely the ideal A. This is because we remember that this A is the reduced ideal, so we don't have to take the radical of this side. So we have achieved that A prime R equal to the ideal of the curve. Now, further note that this equation Fi, when I differentiate with respect to these yi's, now yi's are variables. So when I differentiate them with respect to yi's, So this is the first term is yi, the one is yi power p and so on. So they are powers of yi. So therefore, when I differentiate fi with respect to yj, then you get delta ij because you see this is the only term and this one will have p in the coefficient, then characteristics p, therefore they will vanish, and therefore this partial derivative of fi with respect to the variable yj is delta ij, where the Kronecker symbol, and this is true for all I 3 to n and j equal to 3 to n. So this means the Jacobian matrix of the polynomial f3 to fn with respect to the variables y3 to yn is the identity matrix. It is n minus 2 cross n minus 2 identity matrix. Now, therefore, I can apply Jacobian criterion, which I have recalled on the next page. And when we apply the Jacobian criterion, it follows that f3 to fn will define a non-singular surface in the affine n minus 2 dimensional space, and that the coordinate ring of the surface, which is r prime by ideal generated by f3 to fn, this will be same as x1, x2, y3 to yn, f3 to fn, and this is because it's non-singular. This is a regular affine K algebra of 2 dimension 2, and the ideal A double prime, which is the image of A prime in this R double prime, has height 1. So first, now the next page, I will go on the proof, but I just wanted to recall Jacobian criterion. This is for the student. So I have written down the Jacobian criterion. So we have a affine algebra over a field, A is the ideal, and for a prime ideal P, this is the residue field at P, which is also the quotient field of A by P, which is it is because it's an affine algebra, it is generated by not because it is generated by the images of this capital Xi and the quotient field of that, where these Xi are the images of capital Xi, is residue field of the localization at P. And the transcendent degree of this extension is precisely the dimension of A by P. This is normalization lemma. And the Jacobian matrix is the partial of x1 to fn with respect to this x1 to xn. Take the partial derivatives and evaluate at this x1 to xn, which is a matrix, m cross n matrix over this quotient field, residue field of the local ring A localized. This is called the Jacobian matrix at the place P with respect to the given presentation of this affine algebra. So now there will be several things one should check that this doesn't depend on the presentation, etc. And the theorem, Jacobian criterion says that if you have an affine domain of dimension D over a perfect field A, of the Jacobian matrix at P is n minus D minus embedding dimension of A localization at P minus the dimension of A localization at P, where P is the prime ideal. P is the prime ideal. So in particular, when AP is regular, then this embedding dimension will be equal to this, and the rank will be this. The rank of Jacobian matrix will be n minus D. So AP is regular if and only if the rank of the Jacobian matrix is n minus D. So this is what we have used in the earlier page for a proof of this one. These comments are for students. So again, I repeat, the experts and super experts should put up their mind during this lecture. And okay, so now continuing the argument from the earlier page. So we have achieved that this A double prime, which is A prime mod f3 f2 fn, is height 1 ideal, and we have just seen that the R double prime is a regular affine algebra. Therefore, for every maximal ideal M prime in R prime, which contain A prime, M double prime, this is the maximal ideal in R double prime of the local ring R double prime localized at M double prime, which is regular. This is a maximal ideal there, and therefore this regular, because this regular local ring is a factorial domain. This is famous theorem of Ostrander-Buchbaum. This ideal localization of A double prime at M double prime in this factorial domain, this ideal is of pure of height 1 because earlier it was that assumption. A is pure of height 1. There is no maximal ideal in the, there are no embedded points in the, not isolated points in the, on the curve. So this is principle. This ideal is not prime, but it's a height 1, pure height 1 ideal in a factorial domain. Therefore, it is intersection of finitely many prime ideals of height 1 and height 1 prime ideals in a factorial domain are principal. Therefore, A double prime is locally principal at every maximal ideal of R double prime. So this proves that if you take the A prime ideal, this is locally generated by those polynomials F3 to Fn along with one more generator, which is the pre-image of a local generator at localization. This happens at every maximal ideal of R double prime. So A double prime is a locally principal ideal. So that means what? So this means the following. Now I will need a theorem of Mohan-Kumar, which was proved in 78. This I have also given the summary of this on the next page. So, but let us use it. So that says that A prime is actually generated by n-1 polynomials up to radical, and hence we have A, which is the radical of this A prime B. Therefore, this radical extended ideal is also generated by n-1 polynomials up to radical. That means this ideal A is a set theoretic complete intersection, and that will finish the proof of Cauchy-Norrie theorem. So I will pause here a little bit, and maybe if anybody has some questions, I can address it now, or I can go on. I need some feedback from, especially from students. So can I go on? Hello?
Yes.
Can I go on?
I don't see any questions in the chat box, so you can continue.
Okay, so I'll again make this screen bigger. So now this is what we have used. This is very, very important theorem, and again I am only stating what I have used. There is a big literature around these questions and problems, and I was told by Verma that Mohan will be lecture on Monday on this, so that would be great. All right, so it will become self-contained. So we have the theorem of Ferrand and Shapiro, who proved this theorem for n equal to 3, and then Mohan-Kumar proved this for n bigger equal to 4 in 78. That says if you have an ideal in a polynomial ring over a field, which is a locally complete intersection ideal with height A equal to n-1, then A can be generated up to radical by n-1 polynomials. That means radical of A is the radical of some n-1 polynomials in the polynomial. In particular, if C is a non-singular curve, non-singular curves are locally complete intersection, that is clear by, I have recalled the definition below also. Then non-singular curves in affine n space are set theoretic complete intersection. So this is for arbitrary field, I suppose, arbitrary field, and Now let me also recall what is the local complete intersection. So an ideal A in a Noetherian ring is called a local complete intersection of height R if for every maximal ideal M in A which contains A, the localization of A at M is generated by a regular sequence of length R. And there are a lot of questions and results around these questions, which relates set theoretic complete intersection, local complete intersection, and so on. But I am not going to go in those in an exhaustive way. All right. So actually, while preparing this lecture, I also learned that this theorem even there is a more general statement which is in this paper of Lubeznik in 1992, and this paper contains many results, and it is quite exhaustive in nature, and also it's quite difficult to read. So the general result he has proved is if you have an ideal in a polynomial ring over a field, which is a local complete intersection of dimension R by I bigger equal to 1, then A is set theoretically defined by n minus 1 polynomials. That is, there are n minus 1 polynomials in the ideal A, so that the radical of A equal to radical of ideal generated by F1 to Fn minus 1. So, in particular, if you have local complete intersection and if the dimension of V is positive, then V is defined by n minus 1 polynomials. So this was the case for curve in this theorem of Mohan-Kumar. That was for the curve, this height is n minus 1. I don't know, I myself don't know the proof of this, but even for the theorem of Mohan-Kumar, I would say that what is more important is the study of projective modules over polynomial rings over a field in finitely many variables, and the famous theorem of Quillen-Suslin, which says that the projective modules are finitely generated projective modules are free, and also Suslin's work also use like n factorial theorem of Suslin and Suslin's method of projective generations of ideals and so on. I guess we will hear all these things in Mohan-Kumar's lecture next week. So go on. So one more thing. Lubeznik also proved this theorem in characteristic P. So K is a field of characteristic P and ideal A in the polynomial ring, and suppose all the reducible components of V have dimension bigger than the positive dimension, then A is set theoretically defined by n minus 1 polynomials. That is, there are polynomials f1 to fn minus 1, so that radical of A is radical of f1 to fn minus 1. This is a generalization of the theorem we proved Kaushik and Nori. And again, this theorem seems to be difficult. I don't know the proof myself. But this paper of Lubeznik, 1992 paper of Lubeznik contains a lot of information about these questions and even other questions in more general setup, not even for the polynomial ring over a field, but there are theorems also like about ideals in a polynomial ring over a field, not over a field, but over arbitrary Noetherian ring. And then there are theorems, Eisenberg ones, and so on and so on. And so I don't go in those things. And in the next lecture, I want to prove this projection lemma. So that is what I will do in the next lecture. Now, I have not many other questions in in these things. But I would like to your audience to ask some questions if they have.
Yeah, there are some questions.
Yes.
Yeah, so the question from Amartya Kumar Datta, what is the reference for Lubeznik 1992?
1992 paper of Lubeznik, that is, I think, American Journal of Mathematics. American Journal of Mathematics.
Okay.
Should I look up? Wait,
No, there are some more questions.
Yes.
Question from AJ Parmeshwar.
Yeah.
Can't we get generated by co-dimension number of generators? I think he refers to Lubeznik's theorem, which
No.
gives the upper bound.
No. I don't know that. That is not stated there. You are talking about this theorem or earlier theorem? There are two theorems. So
I think he means Lubeznik's theorem, where he says if dimension of A mod A is bigger than equal to 1, then A can be set theoretically cut out by n minus 1 surfaces.
I don't know. Perhaps if more in the audience you can say something, but I don't know whether we can get it for n minus b. Then the whole problem will be simpler. No, I don't know.
Yeah. So Nina Gupta says that can you show page 17 again? She has some
this is page 17. This is page 17.
Yeah, Nina, can you ask your question? Hello.
Hello.
My question is in this result.
Yes.
Page 17. It's true for any characteristic. We don't need characteristic.
No, there is no characteristic as subject.
Okay. Okay, Miss, and but in 18, what's the difference? 18, you don't assume complete set, local complete intersection.
There is local complete intersection, and in
18, we don't assume local complete intersection, but we assume the positive characteristic.
This is an exact generalization of Cauchy note.
Okay. Yeah.
Generalization in that sense, but generated by 3n-1 equation.
Okay.
And for this proof, I think he has used Cauchy theorem as the initial case.
Okay, so any other question by audience?
I would concentrate on the students because this lecture was meant for graduate students.
Yeah, but I think the experts kept quiet during your lecture. Now they can ask questions. Yeah, so Vinay Wagh has given exact reference to American Journal 1992 to Lubeznik's paper.
Shall I give the exact reference?
Yeah, no, there's a reference in the chat box by Vinay Wagh has given.
Okay, that is American Journal Mathematics 114 volume, page number 413 to 463. That is 50 pages paper. It's a very big paper.
Yeah, it's a survey paper.
It's a survey paper, but he has collected many questions and tried to collect many answers. And there are very large number of results there and techniques and so on. And that paper also has a big reference.
Yeah. So